there, and welcome to another Health Essentials podcast. I'm John Horton, your host. Hot tubs hold a special place for us in pop culture, and let's be honest here, they've got a reputation as a fun place to splash around. But hot tubs are more than just a bubbly good time. They're also therapeutic on multiple levels, as we'll discuss today with one of our regular guests on the podcast, functional medicine specialist Melissa Young. Dr. Young is one of the many experts at Cleveland Clinic who visit us weekly to chat about wellness trends and ways to live healthier. So with that, let's soak in some knowledge about the benefits of hot tubs. Welcome back to the podcast, Dr. Young. I gotta tell you, I love your visits. We always find something fun to chat about.
We do. Thank you so much for having me back.
So our topic today is hot tubbing. And when it comes to plopping in a hot tub, my first thought isn't that I'm entering healing waters. Am I underselling the potential benefits because I watched Hot Tub Time Machine and, full confession, the sequel?
I have to admit, I have not seen that. So
you're not missing a cinematic masterpiece.
Right.
I can promise you that.
Okay. But, I think a lot of us think about, gosh, when we're traveling, we're going on vacation, we look forward to being able to sit in a hot tub and relax. So, I think we can talk about, the benefits and potential drawbacks of doing that. But, it's definitely something that we think about that can be, beneficial and fun.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. And you are so right with vacations. I know last family trip I had, my grandkids were all over that hot tub. So it is just a favorite. But let's look, it is more than just fun here. So
Yeah.
What kind of health perks, might you get out of a hot tub session?
Well, one, I think it's important to know that, hot water hydrotherapy it's been used for, over 4,000 years, and it's been part of the cultures of like the Native Americans, the Japanese, and, Norwegians, the ancient Greeks. So this is not new. We're, putting in modern times, it's a hot tub rather than, buildings erected on natural hot springs, which probably has additional benefit of all the minerals in the waters. But it actually was interesting in researching some of this. Of course, we have, the basic benefits of relaxing muscles, increasing, blood flow to help with the stiffness and any discomfort or pain we might have. But it was interesting to see that there were some studies that showed there might be benefits to our cardiovascular health, even minor benefits, say, to metabolic health, so improving insulin resistance, markers of inflammation, though, I think it's important to know, one, I think we need more studies that really, show consistent benefit. And the other piece is you need to be using the hot tub consistently. So
it's not
most
just a
of
one
us,
and done sort of thing.
Exactly. It's not a one-time deal. The one-time deal is great for stress management, which we're always talking about, relaxing the muscles, just increasing blood flow. But, you need that regular use if you're going to have a lot of those other potential benefits.
Yeah. So when you talk about like the heart health and, the sore muscles and things like that, is that just all related to what that warm water does to kind of blood flow and just kind of getting everything really flowing, that much better?
Yeah, I definitely think we're improving circulation and blood flow that helps carry nutrients and oxygen to our tissues, which is helpful in those situations. It probably, when we think about not only that blood flow bringing nutrients to the muscles, it's getting rid of metabolic waste that may build up, especially say for athletes who are using this to be helpful with muscle pain. So, I think those are the main sort of mechanisms, at least that we're aware of at this time. It's an interesting subject. It would be nice to have more data on this.
Yeah. Well, and I even saw where it can briefly lower your blood pressure. And that's like what you were saying. If you just jump in, I mean, it does it kind of widens those arteries up and it
Mhm.
even will bring it down at least temporarily while you're sitting in there.
Yeah, correct. And it's going to sort of lower blood pressure, and it's going to lower that diastolic number. So the bottom number, if people, are familiar with their blood pressure. But that also, we can talk about what, precautions we want to take. But yeah, I mean, I think that that's part of the relaxation. And over time, if you are doing it consistently, part of that benefit from a cardiovascular standpoint.
Now, as far as stress relief, I mean, you almost feel like these waters are magical sometimes when you feel so good when you get out. But what's really the mechanism that's going on there to make you feel just so chilled out?
Well, I think if we're talking about a hot tub, which is going to be probably chlorinated water, most of the benefit is going to be from the heat and the jets. So that's just, allowing us to relaxing physically the muscles. Because, stress often leads to, remember, our shoulders coming up here and tight muscles. So
Oh
it's
yeah.
that relaxation piece physically of the muscles that I think then leads to, probably not that there's data here on this yet, but helping with the autonomic nervous system, leading to moving out of that sympathetic fight or flight response.
Now, what about it improving sleep? And I've read some stuff there where just kind of that heating, cooling effect. So if you're in that warm water and then you hop out, it just, you feel so drowsy all of a sudden.
So don't hop out because your blood pressure may decrease and we don't want lightheadedness. But yes, so, we've known for a while that whether it's a hot bath or a hot tub, heating up our core temperature maybe an hour or two before bed, that cooling process triggers the relaxation response. And it's a trigger in some ways as well for the body to think about time for sleep. And then you're more easily able to fall into the sleep as your body cools.
Yeah. And I know you've been on the podcast before and we've kind of talked about the sort of meditative things you can do. And it
Yeah.
seems like if you're going to make a habit out of this, as far as a therapeutic thing to do,
Mhm.
setting it up kind of maybe in those hours before bedtime might be a good way to go.
I agree. I agree.
Well, you've given us some really good incentives to schedule some hot tub time.
Okay.
But let me ask you this: can you even overdo it and maybe get too much of this good thing?
I think you can. So one, we want to think about temperature. We want to think about time in the hot tub. Typical temperatures, are about 104 degrees, though I found it interesting that some of the studies, there was one out of Japan that showed the more consistent use of hot tub therapy with impact on cardiovascular markers. The temperature was 107 degrees.
Okay, that's a little hotter
Um,
than what they
a
recommended.
little hotter, yeah. But for, more what we call recreational, use, 104 degrees, probably about 15 minutes, 15 to 20, using your body as a guide. You don't want to feel overheated or dizzy or nauseated, then it's time to get out. So those are, some of the guidelines.
Okay, well that makes a lot of sense because I know sometimes you're prone to just sitting in there, but those
Yes.
pruny fingers and you don't want to get out, but it sounds like you really do need to kind of cut it off after a little bit.
I think those are, for the average person, a good guideline. I mean, if someone is younger, super healthy, they might be able to stay in longer without any adverse effects, but it's knowing kind of your health history and your tolerance to heat.
Well, it sounds like you don't want to boil yourself there. We don't want to be, you don't want to be that lobster in the pot.
It's true.
So, I mean, can you work this in daily? I mean, if you do these like limited sessions, is that something that you could do or, should you try to limit it to a few times a week?
I think for the average person, if they wanted to do it daily, and there's no contraindications, which of course, with medical conditions, wanting to talk to your health provider. But I think for, the average person looking for that muscle relaxation, stress, reduction, it's fine if you want to do it daily, but a couple times a week is probably ideal.
And you said the real key is to make sure that water temperature doesn't get too hot, because if it gets,
Yeah.
a little over 104, you start running the risk of dehydration, dizziness, headaches, all those bad things.
Hyperthermia, overheating of the body, which actually can be life-threatening for sure.
And that would definitely kill the vibe that you're trying to set with the hot tub anyway.
Yes.
So, what's some other potential, bubble trouble that you can get into in a hot tub?
Well, I mean, we do have to be conscious of that. So, those people say with low blood pressure, since it's going to potentially lower your blood pressure more, need to be very careful. I would avoid it in pregnancy. You don't want to go in with any open wounds or sores. If you've had a gastrointestinal or diarrheal illness recently, I would avoid, going into the hot tub.
Nobody needs that shared in the water.
Exactly. And definitely no sedatives, no alcohol, while using a hot tub. The other big thing is, not all hot tubs are maintained properly, and you can get skin infections, lung infections. So, that's not fun either. If possible, looking at the maintenance records, making sure it looks clean. You don't have a film or bubbles that seem to not look clean. You want to be prudent with what hot tub you're using.
Now, you had mentioned alcohol, which I know a lot of people, when you are kicking back and using one, a cocktail or beer may come out. What's the big risk that you run if you kind of mix those two things together?
Well, one, when you're drinking alcohol, you're less aware of your sort of your tolerance for heat. And so, that concerns me that you'd stay in longer and not be aware that you were overheating or not feeling well. And then, there's always a remote risk with alcohol of drowning. So I don't think those mix. I would wait until, you're done with, especially if you're on vacation, wait till after the hot tub and then, have your beer or libation.
Yeah. That stuff can sneak up on you a little bit,
It
especially when you're
can.
sitting in there and it's a little dehydrating, like you said, with the hot
That
water
too.
and add the alcohol in and it just, kind of doubles the effect.
It does. It does.
What about the one thing you always hear is hot tubs and sperm health, that it's just not the best thing for it. If you're looking to, conceive, is that something you should avoid if you're a guy?
Yes. If you're looking to, conceive, you want to avoid hot tubs and hot baths because that impacts fertility. It's the changes are transient. So, I mean, they're going to reverse and go back to normal. But if you're trying to conceive, I would avoid that altogether during that time.
Well, which kind of, and it's an interesting segue, but what about kids in hot tubs?
Sure.
That's something they're always drawn to it. It's like a fun little pool with all these jets. I mean, should you let kids go in there? What are what should you kind of do to make sure that they're safe and everything's good?
Sure. So no kids under 5 for sure.
Wow, how
Um,
come?
I think that one, increased risk of drowning, they're going to be more sensitive to becoming overheated. And again, they're less aware at that age of, discomfort or, understanding that they're not doing so well in the heat. You know, if say 5 or over, you want to bring your kids into the hot tub, it's going to be for a much shorter time, maybe 5 at most 10 minutes, and ideally a lower temperature because little people just have a different physiology and more risk of drowning, so you have to keep a really close eye on them as well.
Well, and I gotta say, and if you're looking to relax in a hot tub too, kids also kind of kill that relaxing feeling you've got around it. So
Yeah,
limiting their time might be the best thing on top of that.
for adults and the children, right?
So, yeah, so what else should we think about when you're looking at whether to maybe consider, adopting a hot tub routine? I mean, is what would be the reasons to go and do it?
So, I would probably put aside for the most part the potential, benefits that we talked about of cardiovascular disease and metabolic health, because that really requires warmer temperatures that may not be comfortable, a very consistent practice. I think about hot tub therapy as something that you're going to be doing for fun, relaxation. If you have, more chronic muscle tension, or you're, more active or an athlete where, that's going to be partially therapeutic, but also enjoyable. That's how I think about it.
All right. Well, it sounds like we all could look at hot tubs a little bit differently here because there are some good things that you get out of it.
Yeah.
Any chance I can get a prescription that for a hot tub that maybe my health insurance will cover?
So, for some people who have medical conditions, a letter of medical necessity can be helpful. I don't, it's a good question in terms of whether insurance would cover that versus you could think about, well, could it be taken off, deducted from taxes as a medical deduction? So I'll get back to you on the specifics of that, but I have heard of that.
Yeah. Well, it's worth a shot. We'll have to talk offline. Maybe
We'll
I
talk
wouldn't mind
offline
having
for
one
sure.
in the back there. So it could work. So, Dr. Young, I appreciate you coming in. I always feel like in these conversations, I always feel so good and my face hurts. We laugh so much.
We do. Good for that stress reduction as well.
Who needs that hot tub? I can just talk to you more.
I feel the same way.
All right. Thanks a lot, Dr. Young.
Thank you.
Hot tubs certainly offer some splashy fun, but there's more to them too. Whether it's calming your mind, soothing sore muscles, or improving blood flow, just remember to responsibly enjoy your hot tub escape. If you liked what you heard today, please hit the subscribe button and leave a comment to share your thoughts. Till next time, be well.